Okay, so this is not an exaggeration. The video that you're watching right now is the most important video I have ever made. Because if you understand the message, it will drastically change your life. Now, you clicked on this video because you are sick and tired of wage slavery. And if you've seen my videos before, then you know that I share that feeling. I have been making YouTube videos about wage slavery for the past 2 years, and I read all the comments and I see the frustration that people share, that feeling of not being able to change one's life. And the number one question I see in the comments section is, how do I escape the 9-to-5 rat race? Which sort of made me think about it and ask a very different question. Is there actually a cheat code to escape wage slavery? Something that can work for everyone. And I thought long and hard about this one. And the answer is yes. And in today's video, I'm going to explain exactly what the cheat code is. And no, at the end of this video, there's not going to be a course or books that I'm trying to sell, but I have put in a considerable amount of research into this. And I think I've cracked the cheat code for escaping wage slavery. But if you think that the cheat code is as easy as pushing a red button and have money rain down on you, you might as well leave already. Get out. This video is not for you. This video is for people who have the mental capacity to understand that there are no such things as quick fixes in life. Anyone claiming otherwise is just trying to take your money. A rational person knows that anything worthwhile requires determination. It requires learning new skills, and above all, it takes patience. So in today's video, I'm going to break down a few key concepts to give you a better understanding of how the cheat code works, and I'm going to go through the first obstacles you will face. And I know about these obstacles because I have gone through them myself. Now, I'm not the inventor of some magical formula, and what you learn here, you've probably heard from similar content creators like Dan Koe, Alex Becker, or Gary Vee. You will see that the core philosophy is the same: designing a life around your passion, understanding how creativity actually works, and mastering time management. The cheat code is actually pretty straightforward. It's simple, but the tricky part is sticking with it. So, I'm going to reveal the cheat code right away in the first part of this video, and most YouTubers, they will save that for the end because they want to boost watch time and make more money, or they want to build up excitement only to end the video by pushing a link to a course or a book. Now, don't get me wrong, I have ideas for products and courses at some point, but this is not what this video is about. I know myself and I know people. Most of us watch these types of videos for inspiration, motivation, but that's where it ends. Sadly, most of you watching this, you won't do anything about it. But a small percentage of you will, and maybe years from now, some of you will thank me for this video today. So today's video is my effort to reach that 1 or 2 people who will actually do something about their situation. Like I said in the beginning of this video, there is no red button to press. There is no simple formula or checklist that I can give you to make the changes that you want to escape wage slavery. Life just doesn't work like that. But there is, in fact, a cheat code. Now, the cheat code is sort of like first learning the combination for certain button presses in a game to execute a move, sort of like doing a finish him combo in a game like Mortal Kombat. You have to practice that move until your muscle memory allows you to execute it at will. Now, I apologize for this rough analogy, but I know a large part of my audience is into video games, which is a good thing because gamers understand that in order to master a game, you have to practice until you get every move right. Nobody completes a speed run on their first try. Video games don't work like that, and guess what? Neither does life. So, what is the cheat code? The cheat code is understanding how the world works. And it's going to sound very basic, maybe too basic, but it's the truth. The world works like this. People provide value, and people pay money for value. That's it. That's the cheat code. It's been the cheat code since the dawn of time, before money even existed, when people traded quilts for fish. The problem is, society has structured wage slavery in a way that severely limits what people can provide and how much they can earn for the value that they offer. Now, from a socialist perspective, it might seem fair that everyone makes a livable wage, but at the same time, it forces the majority of people into soul-sucking jobs, sitting in cubicles and earning very little. The only real winners in this wage slave system are the companies that exploit it. Now, most of you watching this realize how unfair it is, and you want out. So, here's some good news. We live in an era where we have access to computers and cameras and internet, and now the latest game changer, AI. AI is incredible. It can help you with almost anything, but most people still won't use it, which I'm going to discuss in part 2. The point is, AI is just another tool. We already have plenty of tools at our disposal. Think of the internet. You no longer have to go to the library or pay a tutor to learn valuable skills. Everything you need is accessible from your smartphone. Now, you can't say, I don't know how, because you have the ability to learn. And you can't say it's too hard because your brain has already conquered some of the most complex challenges imaginable, like learning how to walk. It required an immense neuromotor coordination, real-time balance adjustments, and precise muscle control. Learning to speak and to read were equally massively cognitive feats. If you master those, you can learn new skills. So the cheat code is understanding that you must bring value in order to make value. And if you do it right, if you build a business around the value you want to provide, you can make a lot of money, which will allow you to escape wage slavery. Now, it does take hard work and dedication to make yourself accessible to success. And I'm not talking about massive success, by the way, because this is important, because this is where a lot of people stop trying because they think they have to compete with Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or even Mr. Beast. If you want to build a business through Shopify, it doesn't have to be the next Amazon. If you want to create a product, it doesn't have to be the next iPhone. The goal is to become good enough to make a living doing something you enjoy, without relying on a company that will drain you dry. Because let's face it, that's what wage slavery does. Now in part 2, I'm going to go over the first hurdle, picking the right value proposition. And this is crucial because getting this part right will allow you to earn more than you ever imagined. How to pick the right value proposition depends on where you are in life. The older you get, the more you understand who you are and what you want. So I'm 43 years old, and for me it's crystal clear. I want to make movies. That's why I built my business around a camera. I make YouTube videos, I sell stock footage, and I even got a drone license so I can do client work. But in my 20s, I had no idea what I wanted. So I studied economics at the university, which was sort of fun, but in retrospect, it just feels like a complete waste of time, which is fine because life experience builds your personality, and your personality is your brand. I am who I am today because of all of my struggles and my experiences. Now, I remember that in my 30s, I thought I wanted to be a writer, but the problem was I didn't actually enjoy writing books. That's the key difference between what you enjoy doing and what you wish you were. I wish to be a writer, but cameras, that's different. I'll be filming for the rest of my life regardless of how I make a living. Now, what if you pick the wrong field? Just switch lanes. Life isn't about figuring everything out at once and betting everything on one single choice. As much as I love cameras, someday I might discover something that I enjoy even more. But here's the thing, you have to try. That's the only way to get from A to B. It's the only way to figure out what you are truly passionate about. If you love playing video games, I'm not kidding, like more than breathing, build a business around that. It could be a niche, it could be like mastering a specific game or playing it in a very unique way that excites you. Somewhere out there, you'll find the right combination, the luck, where what you love to do equals what people are willing to pay for it. So let's say you want to try and make YouTube videos and you think your content is too boring and nobody will watch it. Just look at me. I'm just a guy on the internet trash talking wage slavery. Like, seriously, think about it. After years of trying to copy other YouTubers, I reached success by being honest, by being authentic. I didn't pick a subject. The subject picked me, and I just ran with it. Now, the reason it worked is because people relate to it. And the reason it works so well is that I'm pretty passionate about my hate for the 9-to-5 rat race. But honestly, it could be any topic. If you love Star Wars and you want to talk about Star Wars all day, do you really think it will be hard to find an audience for that? In part 3, I'm going to go over the second hurdle, the first step, where most people give up before they even start. But I have some ideas how to overcome that using personal experiences to prove my points. So most people have ideas, some even have great ideas, but they never do anything about them. And I'm sure hundreds of people envisioned the concept of Amazon long before Jeff Bezos made it a reality. But the lack of confidence and fear stopped them from even trying. Imagine if Jeff Bezos had let the same fear stop him. Someone else would have built Amazon, and today Jeff Bezos would just be some guy in a bar bragging about how he had the idea first. Of course, I'm using Amazon as a very extreme example. You don't have to build the next Amazon to escape the rat race, but it's a useful example because so many people believe that their idea has to be as big as Amazon or Tesla or the iPhone. That belief alone stops them from ever starting. Here's the good news. Most people are lazy, scared, and ultimately give up before they even start. That's why the cheat code exists, and it works. When I repeat the cheat code again for those who missed it, people provide value and people pay for that value. Most people think it's kind of obvious, but have you noticed that most people don't actually operate that way? Instead, we are trained to go to school and then get a job, where most people just drown out in boredom of office work or worse. So providing value, yes, it requires some effort, but the reality is that your competition is actually very slim. Most people don't even bother starting, and most of those who do, they give up after 5 minutes. So if you think about it, all you have to do in order to succeed is to outlast everyone who quits within the first 5 minutes. Okay, so you know what you want to do, and you have the determination to do it, but there is a problem. You need to work day and night to make it work. How the hell is that even possible? Spoiler alert, it's not. Okay, so you overcome all the hurdles that I mentioned so far. If you have your idea, you know what you want, and you're ready to do it, but you still see this one major problem. You have a job, you have kids, you have responsibilities, and you just don't have the time to start a business or work on your escape. Now, I know this hurdle very well, because I spent 5 years making excuses before I finally started my business. Who has the time to start a business, let alone run it? The answer is, you do. Anyone watching this video has time. Yes, even you. We live in a society that lies about starting a business. You've heard those lies before. You'll work harder and longer than at a regular job. Or, 90% of the businesses, they fail within 5 years. Now, technically, both lies are true, but they don't tell the full story. Like I said before, most people quit after 5 minutes, so of course most businesses fail. And the idea that a business has to consume your life, that's just an oversimplified thing. It's not true. If you build a business around what you love, you want to work on it all the time, but it doesn't mean you have to. A business can take different shapes, and the most important part is that it fits your lifestyle. Now, my business isn't going anywhere. It just sort of runs in the background, It runs as fast as I let it. I focus on making better videos instead of, rushing into merch or creating courses. Not because it's the best strategy, just because I love making videos. Now, I also want to cover something that nobody talks about, which is productivity is a scam. Society has programmed you to believe that working long hours is the only way to succeed. But that's only because you've been trained to trade time for money. Your understanding of success is hard work, but that's not true. You see, society doesn't teach you about how to create value. It teaches you how to get a degree and get a job. But the cheat code to escaping wage slavery, it isn't about working harder or longer. It's about working smarter. Like I said before, it's pretty straightforward. You provide value and people pay for that value. Now, putting in more hours is actually the lazy approach to success, because instead of figuring out the most efficient way to create value, most people just grind because that's all they've been taught. Time is a problem, and time is also kind of the key of escaping wage slavery. Now, notice how your brain is resisting what I'm saying. On some level, you know that I'm right. You just know it. But your mind is already making up all kinds of excuses. And this is where a lot of people will rather invent scams to trick people. For example, getting rich by selling books on how to get rich. Making a video like this to get you excited for a book or a course, that's just wrong. Now, don't get me wrong, I bought courses and books on the topic of wealth and content creation, and there is a lot of good content out there. But the knowledge in those books and courses is usually the very obvious stuff that you can Google. Nobody is holding some secret wisdom. The reason we buy courses and books is because we just trust the content creators. For example, let's say you love to take pictures and you would love to make a living from it by making courses on photography. Your first instinct would probably be that you're a nobody. There's plenty of great photographers who know way more about photography. But the knowledge in books and courses is always just common knowledge. The value you can provide is by being authentic, just being your true self and document your journey. That's what people want. They want authentic people they can trust. Because if they trust you, they will easier take in the knowledge. You're like the fancy paper wrapping that makes the present more enjoyable to use. Now, at this point, if you're still with me, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I'm just going to be my authentic self on the side hustle, around my passion, but I don't have time for any of this. The problem is time. Nobody has time to provide value. So in the next part, I'm going to go over the truth about time. And spoiler alert, you do have the time. You just don't see it yet. So our brain is this incredible problem-solving machine, but it's also kind of flawed. It's wired to adapt to life and society, not necessarily to challenge it. Your subconscious is always looking out for you, but it assumes that you'll be the safest if you just follow the norm, which in this case is just waking up early, eat breakfast, go to work, do your chores, and repeat. Let me explain. Whenever you try to step outside the norm, your brain resists. It sees this as a threat, something unfamiliar, something risky, so it tries to steer you back into what feels normal and safe. Now, this instinct is very powerful, and sometimes it will manipulate you into believing things that just aren't true. Here's a perfect example. Right now, I'm willing to bet that as you're watching this, you're thinking, I don't have time for any of this, but that is just not true. Now, I can relate to this problem very well. I've told myself the same thing so many times, but the reality is everyone has at least 1 hour per day they could dedicate to anything they want. Now, when I say 1 hour of work, I mean real work, effective work, not the kind of work you do at your job or maybe, like 5 minutes of actual work per hour of actually being productive. I'm talking about the ability to put in 1 solid hour of focused work on your project. Now that is a skill, and I'm not gonna lie, it does take time to develop that skill, but it's no different than going to the gym. It takes time to develop that training habit. It's very hard at first, but eventually your mind adjusts to the new norm, and you can't quit just because your first hour doesn't seem to make a difference. So think about working out. In the beginning, it feels like nothing is changing, but over time, you build a routine and eventually your brain adjusts to this new habit. And here's the cool part. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be hooked by how much 1 hour of focused work can accomplish. And this is why it's important to find the right value proposition, because it makes it easier. If you work out, you have to do it sort of in a way that works with your personality. Maybe your best training is when you listen to music or a specific type of music, or maybe it's going to a particular type of gym. We're all so different, and the trick is to adjust the training to your personality, not the other way around. So for me, my most efficient work of the week happens when I'm editing videos on Saturdays, because that's what I love. If I spent just 2-3 hours editing on a Saturday, that's the most valuable use of my time all week. It's the same with writing. Even though writing really isn't my thing, I know how important a good script is, so I make it a priority to write for at least 1 hour each day. But this is the cheat code, the leveraging effect of putting focused work into one thing that actually moves the needle. That's what creates value. That's what people pay for. Or in my case, that's what makes people watch and enjoy my videos. If I didn't prioritize making my videos enjoyable to watch, you won't be watching this video right now. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, my goal isn't to sell you a course or a book. Maybe one day, but for now, I'm focused on making the best videos I can. Everything I share is free, but if you want to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. As always, thank you for listening. Do me a favor and tap that like button to show your support. Subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. Until next time, stay hungry, relentless, and strong in your journey of escaping wage slavery. Bye. Oh, you're still here. Oh, that's right. It's the behind the scenes vlog. So this segment of the video is where I share personal things, but it's mostly for my subscribers. But if you're new here, you're more than welcome to stick around. So today I'm starting something new, actually. You might have noticed that the video was a bit different. The idea here is I want to try and release a new video every week, but as you can probably tell, the editing was a lot simpler than it usually is. Now, I've said this before, people who don't edit videos, you just don't know how long it takes to make a good video. But because my wage slave videos are important, like I feel it in my bones that the content needs to get out more, I need to keep things more simple. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't make good videos anymore, but I'm trying to find a balance between good message and good production value. It's a simple matter of math. I have very limited time to make these videos, so I can either make 6 really good videos per year, or I can find a compromise on quality versus quantity. So it actually goes hand in hand with the message of today's video, because whatever time I have for my own business, I try to make it count. But you let me know what you think. Does this format work, or should I go back to release fewer videos, but better videos? So the inspiration for this video actually came from my brother-in-law. We recently took a photography walk in the town of Helsingborg. My brother-in-law is pretty much into photography. He's really talented, and we walked around taking photos and just enjoying each other's company. And we both had a really nice time, and we both agreed that it was just too little time for these sort of things. Like, even if we have weekends and evenings, we just have so much stuff to take care of. You know, my brother-in-law, he has kids, and I have the dog, and there is a question of just having enough energy to spend, which I often feel I don't. And the more I talk with people about this, the more I notice I'm not alone. Now, everyone seems to put most of their lives into work, and everyone seems to just accept it because it's the norm. Well, I sort of feel like I'm the only one who doesn't agree with the societal standard about how much we work. So we sort of talked, me and my brother-in-law, we sort of talked about him getting more serious about his photography because he saw a lot of obstacles that I could relate to, and that's how I got inspired to make this video. Oh, and on that note, I'm trying to get my business going, but it's like, when do I find the time to actually work on my business? So I want to start a course on Skillshare just to try it out. And I hear it's working out great for other content creators, but it's like, where do I find the time to do that? I honestly feel like the only way I can do this is if I get something like 6 months of freedom to just work on my business. I think I can make it work, but I need to do the work, you know? Like, how do I make it work? So I have to adjust the process to my life and not the other way around. And I have to sort of remind myself that the value of effective work is to be patient. And after all, life is not about getting from A to B, it's about the journey. And to be honest, even though sometimes all of this feels very hard, I actually do enjoy this journey. So that's all I had for today. I really hope you enjoyed this new format, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.